All right, hello everyone. Today we are going to be talking about decimals review. Last time we talked about fractions, this time we're talking about decimals. So think of it this way, which would you rather have? Would you rather have $5 or would you rather have $0.50? I know just by looking at this, the answer is easy. We would rather have the $5 because we know what the decimal means in this case. But now we're going to kind of figure out the why. And again, this is all review. So if we go back and think about when we did decimals originally, and this is going back a while ago, especially for me, think of any number after the decimal will be part of a whole number. So think of it this way. If I have, I'm going to do this different color here. I'm going to have, let's say, $2. But then I'm going to include a decimal here. So let's say I have $2.25. So that part's easy. I have two whole dollars. And then I have 25 cents part of another dollar. Not exactly 3, but more than 2. So again, the money part of this is going to make a whole lot of sense because that's when we use decimals the most. So let's get a good picture idea of what we got here. So $5. So I got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3, 4, $5 bills. And no, I am not sharing, so don't even ask. 50 cents. I got 1. Wait a minute, that's too much because that's not the whole dollar. So I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to get rid of half of it. Let's be honest though, we don't see part of a dollar bill and consider it 50 cents. So actually what I'm going to do here is, in a different color, I'm going to scratch that off. We would normally see this as 2 quarters. Again, this is the best picture that I've got for quarters. Here. There, 2 quarters. So, easy enough, we're good to go. We can see that I would much rather have this side right here, this $5, than the 50 cents. All right. Although, if I had 50 cents somebody offered me, I'd take it, but I mean, that'd be kind of whatever. Hey, money's money. So let's talk about how we say it, because we're not always going to see it in terms of cents and say 50 cents. So what we need to do is we need to think about this in terms of THS. Again, trying something new here that clearly did not work out. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it again. THS. So when I see 0.2, I'm going to say 2, not once, because if I read 2, 2 is in the 1 spot. That's easy. But I need to think of it with that 0 right here. I need to think of it as the tenths. So I'm going to write it as 2/10. So I'm going to make a note right here. No oneths. Once does not work here. Once you have decimal, it immediately starts with the tenths. And then we have 0.02. So that's going to be 2, not tenths, but hundredths. And then I'm going to see this as 2, if I add another 0 here, thousandths. So all I did on the side was I just rewrote the numbers in reverse order. obviously there's a huge difference between 2000s and 2000ths. So would I rather have $20 or $2,000? That's easy. I'd rather have $2,000 because the more zeros I put at the end, the bigger the number is. However, when it comes to decimals, you gotta think of the opposite. The more zeros I include in the middle, the smaller the number gets. So 0.2 tenths, or 2 tenths rather, is a small number. 200ths is a smaller number. 2000ths is smaller. That makes no sense. Let's call it smallest. And if I were to write, 0.0002, helps if I put the decimal right here. Well, it's 2/10,000ths. That's going to be smaller than my smallest. So I'm not even going to worry about that. But you get the idea. The more zeros I put in here in the decimals, the smaller the number is going to get. And then, so we need to think about the more zeros after the decimal. And actually, I'm going to put one more thing in here. I'm going to say immediately. You're reading this and think, Perry, what do you mean by that? So the more zeros immediately after the decimal. The smaller it is. So you get a chance to write that down first. If I were to put a 0 right here, the number doesn't get smaller. It's still the same. So that's why I'm saying immediately after the decimal. So if I were to put a 0 here, it stays the same. So what we really need to think about is immediately after the decimal and before the first non-zero number. Again, if you guys need help, please let me know. I am here to help.